Good morning, everybody. How are we? I'm just going to click on this thing that says, Good morning, how are we? There we go. Well, we have a whole lot of stuff going on that is kind of surprising and yet not, because this is the time of year when we all get all hyped up and alive and well and bouncing around, and it's kind of crazy. And I wanted to talk about that today because it's the morning before, the night before, and everybody's frantic or deliberately not. Deliberately, I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to get caught up in it, and I'm this and I'm that, and we've decided we're just going to, you know, head off someplace off into the wild blue. And and here's what I want to talk about. But before I do, quick sip. Cheers. It's kind of when it's damp and cold. Yeah, that's what we got here. But we also have very warm and comforting as well. So there we are. So my corner of the world is basically, let's say, north of Vermont. How about that? North of Vermont. And then when you get across the border, you just kind of turn your head to the west and get in the car for 90 minutes. And here you are. So it is that kind of weather. It can be really blustery. It can be really, really, really cold. And it can sometimes just kind of hover around, I don't know, and I don't feel well, and I want my mommy. And today is one of those days. Yesterday, I thought it was going to be a day to go out at the last minute. And I looked out the window. Good morning, Eddie. I looked out the window and it was snowing sideways, and I couldn't even see the building across the street. I thought, okay then. We won't be going out today. We'll go out tomorrow. So this is the direction I'm taking. I'm taking today is, as far as I'm concerned, the best laid plans are the ones we can change. The best laid plans are the ones that are fluid, that are flexible, that allow us to be resilient, that allow us to say at the last minute, I'm going to put my jammies on. Because why not? Why not make plans that serve us, that give us that little boost, that make us feel, it's a good day. It's a good day to just be. And before I dive into more of this, I want to say once again how wonderful it is, how exciting it is when I get these little reports. I get a report at the end of every week from LinkedIn telling me how we're doing. And so many of you in your various groups are saying, what on earth is she on about? And they're watching, and you're watching. And then sometimes you're commenting, and it's just so rewarding that a little bit every day, I'm sort of like the Chinese water torture, drip, drip, drip. And speaking of that, today is episode 421, which has been quite a journey, all things considered, for all of us. So, 'twas the day before the night before. And we are doing one of three things. We're getting ready for something. We're getting ready to run in the opposite direction. Or door number three, we're keeping it a little fluid. We're making plans, but we have backups just in case. And for the longest time as a child, good morning, Maggie. Good morning. Today's going to be an interesting day. I've got my fingers and toes crossed for you. And when I was a little kid, there was so many times plans were changed. So many times the expectation was just swept away because my dad had a career path that didn't allow for anyone to make plans but them. The military basically is driving the bus. And there were so many times when we would make a plan, and then my dad would call or come home and say, so here's what we're going to do this year. And I would think, that wasn't what we were talking about this morning or last night. And he would say, I've decided that when I get back from this temporary duty trip, we're going to. And I knew then, although it wasn't clear, that the minute the phone rang, the minute he saw who it was, the minute he knew they would only be calling for one reason, he began looking for some way to help us three celebrate the moment together. Importantly, because it was our day, it was our event. See, I'm still teary-eyed when I think about it. And so sometimes we had Christmas in November one year. We had Christmas early in November, even before my dad's birthday, because he was set to head off to Sardinia, and it was a long trip, and there was just no way around it. And when he got back, he said, so this is what we're going to do. Before, he said, we're going to have Christmas in November, early November, and then we're going to have take two. We're going to do something magical when I come back, and we're going to think about it, the three of us, while I'm gone, and then we're all going to put our ideas in a hat and pick. And that's what we did. And we had so much fun. We decided what we were going to do because he got his leave holiday extended. We decided to do day trips. And I mean, here we were in Europe. And so we got in the car and we went to places that we'd always had a wonder about. And what do you think? And we would stop and have lunch in an interesting town. And we just explored this place we had called temporary home. Because as soon as you move in and unpack, you don't really feel like a tourist anymore. You don't really feel like a visitor. You feel like this is the new next place we live. And it was magical. It was so important. Hey, Joel. What a sweet thing to say. Thank you. Thank you. Please don't tell me you're 106. A girl has to have her illusions, you know. Oh, what a lovely thing to say. So with all of those what ifs in mind, and we would have holidays sometimes when we were not overseas, we would plan to go south. Not always at Christmas though, because you know there's something when you're raised in the North, there is something intrinsically odd. I'm just going to say odd. I'm not going to say terrible, but odd at Christmas when you're raised in the North to see someone in the ho 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 suit that has Bermuda shorts, right? And flip-flops. See, I'm sorry. I don't care that they had bells. I don't care that he had the jacket and the sack and the hat. I'm sorry, but Bermuda shorts is just odd. It's not Santa. It might be Santa on vacation. It might be what Santa changes into to do his midnight ride in the South. But it's just odd. And then you would go by and you would see them foam spraying fake snow on the windows of stores. And I would think, oh, well, you know, you got to give them points. You got to give them points for trying. But until you've come north where it's crisp and it's biting air and it's just, it almost snaps. The air is so crisp. And you can't wait to have hot chocolate and you can't wait to get in out of the wind, but it's beautiful and it's a whole season all to itself. Every time you're in a different country, you think, okay, did they not get the memo here? And I'm sure everyone feels like that when they're looking at their legends in the face of the reality. Raised in Michigan and Ohio, I found a warm and sunny December very, very, very bizarre. Yes, yes, right, Eddie? Yes. You just turned how much? Okay, you need to reduce that number. I'm sorry, but you need to reduce that number. That's all there is to it. That's a typo. Okay, so here's what my thought is for today. We can't make plans without setting certain details in some sort of stone. You know, if we write them in sand and the wind comes along or the wave washes it away, we have to start over again. The best we can do to remain flexible is to write everything in pencil. The best we can do to remain flexible, if you're not old school like me, is to use your note function on your phone to create plans A, B, and C. And say to everyone, the reason for this year's time of year celebration is to celebrate togetherness, is to celebrate our connection, our belief in each other and ourselves and our goals and our dreams, to touch our humanity, to remember how we are different from all the others and how we are the same. It's a time when everyone has vast permission to put the technology down. You know, you could be using it for FaceTime. You could be using it for something like this. You can be using it to check in on loved ones. You can be using it to find the weather and the last minute things available that might get delivered today or tomorrow. The point is, this is the day, I believe, and you can tell me what you think. This is the day when we are primed to shift into, what's that? And oh my. And for me, that's what today is. Now, I had a long and largely sleepless night. Something I ate decided it wanted to be someplace else immediately, but not all at once. And I was up and down and up and down and up and down. At one point I thought, I'm going to be horizontal by the time I have to do the video. And then I thought, no, you know what? My expectation for today, because I'm pretty much prepped for the next things I'm working on, is to give myself permission to breathe today. This video is about taking that breath. This video today, our ABCAST today, thee and me, is about remembering how glorious it is to simply be. What a miracle it is that we made it, that we arrived at all. The likelihood, the odds in the other direction, astronomical. And yet here we are. And it's so easy to forget the smallest things that make us say, oh yeah. See, I have a very particular pillow. And it's not really great from my head, although sometimes for the back of my neck. But there are times when I've been on my feet a lot, and I put that pillow underneath the back of my knees just to raise my knees a little. And oh, it's not a miracle. It's just a quiet ah. Well, good morning, Shannon. How nice to see you. Good morning, Freddie. It's so wonderful to see everybody. So what we get to do today is do it our way. If we've been hitting walls, if we've come through parts of and times in our lives when we were almost afraid to look forward to things after so many things got canceled or trashed or forgotten or tossed. And that's easy to fall into. However, it's just as easy to say, well, thank God that's over. Thank God we got that done. Because we did. And it's past us now. It means we don't have to do it again. And we certainly don't have to go back and live there and try on that victim jacket again. The one, by the way, that was bought for us, bought and paid for, and we were made to wear. Sure, absolutely. There's no need to keep hauling it out of the closet and saying, I wonder if it still fits. Because that was then. We wore that jacket then because that's where we were. And we do not have to be there still yet again. We own our opportunity to say, thanks, tempting, but no, we played there and closed. And we don't need to play there ever again. And I know as well, it can be really tough to trust our instincts, to not second guess. I went through a period of time where for the first time in my life, I realized I was second guessing, and it scared the living daylights out of me. I'd never done that. I'd always been full steam ahead. Damn the torpedoes and the consequences. Full steam ahead. Why? Because what I saw in the rearview mirror was fraught with all kinds of stuff, and I didn't need to bring it with me. I wanted to have the fun stuff. I'd earned the fun stuff. I deserved the fun stuff. And we all do. So today, the morning before, the night before, I think we should call this day Me Day. And I think we should do, I always tell my mates at work, this too shall pass. Yes. I can hear you doing it, Eddie. Happy Festivus, Freddie. How lovely. This idea that this is Happy Me Day. Okay? The 23rd of December is Happy Me Day. When you add 2 and 3 and 12, you get a pretty good number. When you think about all the things you don't have to do right now in this moment, except look around and say, I made it. I made it. I have a very, very good friend who was on vacation and her partner got sick. And they've decided to come home. And they're flying home today from a very warm place. And I said, I hope you packed socks and a jacket. And if you did, fingers crossed, I advise you to wear them because bleh. And she said, gee, thanks. I said, safe travels. We live to serve. So this is, this is my Viking saying, we live to serve. Vikings invented we live to serve. I think today, what we need to amend is that on December 23rd, we live to serve our way. We live to be in the moment. We live to take the deep breath and let it out. Wear the warm socks. Look outside the window and say, I'm in here. We're good. Look at the decorations. No matter how few. I was really disappointed shortly after I moved in. The one disappointment here is that they don't allow live trees. I've had live trees at Christmas forever. And I miss the smell of pine. I miss that and cinnamon. I miss those fragrances walking in the door. And it's something that I've just come to say, well, we'll figure it out another day. We don't have to have it this moment, this time, right now. I don't need those memories to make me feel any kind of loss or lack. I am so grateful to be here. It wasn't long ago, on December 5th, really, that my friend and I, my girlfriend from the good old days, and I celebrated our survival. We were in a horrific car crash in Europe on the Autobahn. And as one passerby said when they saw the Canadian plates, there's some Canadians who won't be coming home for Christmas. And happily, joyously, miraculously, they were wrong, because here we are. So every year is a bonus year, and every day is a bonus day. And I try my best not to take them for granted. So I promised you stories, and I've told you some. And now I want to give you some suggestions. I want you to remember the last time you felt safe, home, peaceful. Maybe you had to unbox and unpack and sort and sift and toss. And then you finished the job. You walked back in and you sat down and you looked around and you said, there, that looks good here, and it looks good on me that I took care of it. Something that small. You may be by yourself these holiday days. Reach out. Reach out to somebody, not to say, I'm all by myself. Because actually, A lot of times, even in big crowds, we are. But reach out to somebody, anybody, and say, I'm thinking of you today. I'm thinking of you ahead of the rush. I'm thinking of you, and think of it as the first gift you open before the rush. I just want you to know your thoughts, my thoughts, connected today. You will be amazed how many people are shocked, surprised, and grateful to know that they matter to you, that they are seen and heard and valued by you. And while you're doing that, make a short list. You don't have to do many. You don't have to do everybody. Just one or two. The rest won't know. You don't have to. You can make a general post on social media saying, God bless all of you. And then you can just quietly send a private one. What we can be thankful for is that we are, period. We are. We may be struggling. We may be trying to come around a very tough hairpin turn. We may not be feeling well. And you know, when you're not feeling well, no matter what it is, no matter how big or how small, we all really want that big cosmic person to make us a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato soup or chicken noodle soup or crackers and peanut butter and wrap us in a blanket. And if we don't have that big someone, then we get to pretend to be that someone and do it for us. And that warm something that we wrap ourselves in, that moment of just putting on the thick socks so our feet aren't cold, that's a gift that keeps on giving. When Maggie and I talk about our project that we're working on, very exciting project, very exciting potential today, I always say there's 5 questions. And the 5 questions we ask, always without realizing, is what does it do? Who does it for? What does it change? Why do they care? And finally, what's in it for me? What does this day do? This day before the day when everybody's ringing bells and singing. What does this day do? What does it change for me? Why does it matter? Who does it serve? And how am I going to spend it that celebrates me and my loved ones? We all have loved ones, even if it's a large stuffed animal sitting on your bed. Or you've named some random part in the car that makes a weird knocking noise every now and then. I have one of those in my beautiful, fabulous, snazzy car. Every so often I go around a corner and something goes thonk. I think I should call it thonk. That's probably a good idea. It's like Gronk, right, from BC. So I'm going to keep this very short today because I know we all have a lot to do. Even if we're not working, we still have a lot to do because no matter how we say, we're just going to keep it simple today. Even when we're by ourselves, even when the people we want to share it with are far away or MIA, there's always stuff coming down the pipe. Well, thank you, Freddie. Thank you. I'm thinking of you too, of course. And well, Miss Molly, good morning, good morning. How nice to see you. Everything we're talking about today is a selfish act of remembrance that we are. Remember that. Remember, we are. And that miracle is something to wonder at. So when your arthritis is kicking up in the damp, and when your chronic pain is saying, hey, every part of our body loves us. no matter what it puts us through. It loves us because we are part of that body too. Remember that we're looking at the world through filters. Our filters aren't just the glasses we wear, they're the assumptions we bring. If last year at this time it was great, amazing. If you give it permission, it can be amazing again. If last year at this time it was not all that great, hang on. Viking wish to all of us, it can be great anyway. The minute we say, I'm walking here, and these days are my days. Remember that too. Okay. I'm going to love you early and send you hugs. And I can't wait to hear on Thursday what your day was like. I can't wait to hear how it went and all the things that happened. Until I see you, remember the drill. Be good to you first. You deserve it. And remember to hug your friends and loved ones because they deserve it too. These videos would not exist without you. They would be rehearsals, me talking to a wall. You make the difference. And the difference is not small. So thank you. And I will see you after the mad dash. Bye-bye for now.